I'm joined on the line by Christo Buertes. He's the Executive Director of Business Partners Limited. He's going to speak to us about what business is expecting from Finance Minister Nene's budget speech tomorrow. Christo, thank you so much for joining us.
Good day, Yerusha, and also to your people.
Now, Christo, business are of course going to be keenly focused on the Finance Minister as he delivers his speech. What are businesses hoping to hear come out of his mouth?
Oh, they want to hear everything, and but I suppose he will have to focus on a few very important things. I would say the first thing on the agenda of businesses is just the electricity crisis, because it's affecting each one of these businesses because of the, it's not really so predictable. When will you have cuts, and there's a lot of productive hours that's getting lost. So that's the one thing. The second thing I think is just how can government help to create space for small and medium enterprises to actually really make a difference in economic development and job creation. I think there's a lot that can be done. They are known to be the job creators and the ones that's really making a difference on our GDP. About 50% of their contribution, or at least 50% of the total GDP, is coming from SMEs, and they're also responsible for more than 60% of the jobs being created. So yes, how can the environment be made more friendly for those businesses? I think there's another very important thing that we heard in the State of the Nation address that the President delivered 2 weeks ago. And that was about government procurement, and that they would like to do it, for SMMEs in rural areas, in townships, also cooperatives, and so on. About 30% of their procurement they want to do through SMMEs in these areas. And one would like to hear a little bit more about that and how would that be practically rolled out, because it could definitely stimulate SMMEs, and if they get those procurement opportunities coming their way, they can make a big difference in alleviating the poverty, creating the necessary jobs, and contributing towards economic growth.
Now, Christo, I think...
Sorry, yes?
Oh, no, please continue until you're done. Sorry about that. You can just start from the beginning of that
There's
sentence.
Another area. Good. Okay. Now, just there's another area where one would expect them to also contribute and say how it could be done, and that is, to lowering the cost of doing business. It's just costing too much to do business, and it's basically from two sides that government could help SMMEs. I would say the one is having access to finance that's at a lower cost than normal commercial terms, so that because often they need to borrow at much higher levels because they don't have the equity themselves, and then the cost of finance is a big challenge. I think the second one under the lowering the cost of doing business is the red tape. It's just too much laws, regulations, legislation that businesses needs to comply with, and that increases the cost of doing business. I think a fifth area where government can play a bigger role is giving more access to technical assistance and mentorship. And one would like to see the hands of the Small Business Ministry to be strengthened in this way also, so that she can make a bigger difference, I might just hasten to say, if you encourage entrepreneurship, you simplify the business formation process, and you lessen the regulatory and compliance burden of SMMEs, they can really make a difference in creating wealth, stimulate growth in our economy, and facilitate jobs. And isn't that what we all need, And, that is the crux, and I think we all need it so dearly that we can just get stability. And amongst SMMEs, they are pleading for it, and I hope the minister can address some of these issues at least.
Now, we know that South Africa faces a very unique challenge of gross unemployment and social inequality, and certainly economic inequality. Is government equipped to really deal with the issues at hand by following the National Development Plan and really creating jobs and supporting small business? We often hear the argument that there's simply not enough resources, there's just not enough budget. What needs to be done?
Yeah, we cannot say, government, please create the jobs. That is not sustainable. So we need small and medium-sized businesses to create the jobs, and we need a few big industries that's coming to the party, and we must make it attractive for them to actually come to the party. I think where government can play a big role is to speed up the infrastructure development program. And that's an area where a lot of jobs can be created. And if they then insist on 30% of the procurement for those big contracts, infrastructure development projects, must be procured from SMMEs, well, then we can see poverty alleviation, we can see economic growth, we can see sustainable businesses being set up and making a contribution towards the economy. And we fully support the National Development Plan. And we mustn't wait for government to create the jobs, but they can play a massive facilitating role. And their direct role is basically infrastructure development.